Hi, Mairi here from Change is Always Possible. Very fortunate to get out in nature. And as I've been walking along, I've been thinking about fear because there's so many people who are frightened at the moment, and myself included. I've had moments I'm feeling really quite fearful about various things, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about it because for some people, the fear would have been is a relatively mild reaction. It's like, ooh, there's this thing happening, it's not very nice. Oh God, we're going to have to change how we're living and sort a few things out. And some people will have been able to think it through, sort things out, make a plan, like I've suggested in other videos, and get on with it. And to some extent, will have reached a kind of calmer place. But there'll be other people who this fearful situation that we're living in at the moment will have triggered, in other words, set off memories or reactions that actually relate to fearful events in the past. And I'm going to share one of mine just to give an example. It took me a while to figure out that this was what was going on, because my default is often to get angry because anger feels so much more powerful than anything else. But with the help of a couple of dear friends that I talked to, I was able to get underneath that anger and realise that I was being triggered by seeing and hearing so many other people being frightened. And what it was triggering in me was how I felt when I was a child and I saw my younger siblings being frightened. Unfortunately for us, we lived in a household that was quite unpredictable. Both of our parents could sort of fire off at a moment's notice, sometimes, really quite unexpectedly, because of their own issues that sadly they weren't able to resolve. And it meant that we lived in a state of red alert a lot of the time, or certainly I know that I did. I can't speak for the rest of them. And I was the eldest, so it was gut-wrenching, and I've been really revisiting some of those feelings of seeing my siblings scared and frightened and not knowing what to do. And that is what has been triggered in me. And then it makes me angry. It makes me angry with authority. In that case, it was my parents. Now it's the government and scientists and all sorts of people. Especially because if I feel what is happening is unjust, which of course often it was in my childhood, it was completely an over-the-top reaction to a situation, and I personally feel that that's exactly what is going on at the moment, so no wonder I'm getting triggered. And I wanted to share that because I know I'm not alone. Two of these friends I spoke to were also being triggered into all sorts of things from their past. So, try and be aware and maybe ask yourself. And a good way to do it is to check in with, what am I feeling in my body? Like really tune into where is that feeling in my body, and ask yourself, when have I felt this before? Or how old is this feeling? And that might help connect you to what's being triggered, what's been set off inside of you. I suppose in the ideal world we could say this is what needs healed, this is what our work is, this is what we can try and remedy now. However, that's not easy for all of us to do. Not everybody has access to therapeutic support. Not everybody has the financial wherewithal, particularly at the moment. So my suggestion is, if you recognise that that's what's happening to you, that this is old stuff being triggered, that you use the tapping technique, EFT, that I've shown you before, where you tap on the meridian points on the body, as you allow yourself to really tune into the feeling in your body, and maybe just tell yourself the story of what happened before, and just keep tapping and keep tapping, because the tapping is calming your nervous system down, calming that physical response in the body, which is how we know we're feeling something. You could also try the havening technique, which is the gently stroking our body, our arms, giving ourselves a hug, gently stroking our face. These are all soothing things that we can do for ourselves. And just know that you're not alone. And if anybody is particularly struggling, please get in contact with me and I'll see if I can help in some way. Okay, bye-bye.